Hi, everyone. I apologize for the delay. I was actually backstage with Raquel and SD and Steven, and I was discussing bringing everybody up to date on my medical treatments and stuff. And, you know, right now I'm kind of at the point where we're still arguing with the insurance company. I still haven't gotten my MRI I need, and yeah, I'm kind of stuck here like a back alley hooker popping painkillers. So it is what it is. I'm doing my best to hang in there, and again, thank you guys for your constant stream of well wishes and prayers. I love you guys, and we will get started. So let's introduce everybody. Of course, I have the lovely and beautiful one of the lights of my life, Raquel, and I have the esteemed author Stephen Walton, and of course, I have my best buddy in the whole wide world, Script Doctor, and my friend and brother. So there's no bear tonight, guys. He's doing daddy things with the children, and I highly approve of anything family. I'm a big person about family, so totally understand that. And of course, our guy Brian the Gravedigger is in the chat. Mm-hmm. So the gang is all here in some form or fashion, and so is the best chat on YouTube because I see Tox and I see Parrot Head and I see Lady Mist, and I'm so very happy to see you guys. And even though I'm not feeling particularly well, we're going to make this show shine tonight for you. So, we'll go ahead and get into it. I think Steven must be away. I think he's...
Sorry, man. I'm right here. Hey, how you doing, guys? Hail to the chat. Hail to the panel. How y'all doing tonight?
Great. We're ready.
Hanging in, buddy, as best I can. So, well, we want to drive on into the episode.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's get started. Is everybody ready? Let's just dig in.
Welcome, Mark Seth. Good to see you, buddy.
We're on Home, Part 2, everybody. We're on Home, Part 2.
Yeah, so do we want to kind of bring everybody up to speed what happened in Part 1 again, just to refresh them?
Okay.
Doing a two-parter.
SD, Steven?
I'm sorry, what was that? I got a little lag spike here.
Let's do a little bit of a recap. Can one of you do a little recap of the last episode?
Sure. So last week, Home Part 1 was basically the reunion of Hilo, Starbuck, and other Sharon with Apollo and Roslyn, and then we get James Remar introduced as a new character who's kind of like the devil on Zarek's shoulder. Mm-hmm. And their whole goal is to head down to the surface of Kobol, find the tomb of Athena, and open up so that it will point the way to Earth. On the Battlestar Galactica, Adama was having issues with replacing his son as leader of the squadron, and he made a bad call and it caused some issues there. And through some sound advice given to him by Dwala, he decided to put his ego aside and rebuild his family, rebuild his fleet by getting as much information on Kobol as possible so that he can find where Roslyn is and basically offer a hand of friendship again and sort of get them all back onto the same page. And that's pretty much where we left off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a great synopsis. And I like that you mentioned the family again, right? We have a family that has been torn apart.
All right. So basically there's your recap, chat. And what we're going to do now is jump on into Home Part 2. So Raquel, if you would so eloquently lead us off.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, so home part 2. We stop in on a symphony of pensive music. It takes us through the arduous journey of the team on Cobalt. It's shot after shot of Lee and his team searching the forest that often looks like a jungle in a biblical deluge of rain. They pore over soaking texts, compasses, and we even cut to Adama at his desk with a magnifying glass, trying to track the trackers. We then cut to Adama proper. He's assembled his own Tomb of Athena team, Gata, the chief, and Ty. We cut back to the Cobalt team. The president is struggling because she's ill. We cut back to Adama. He talks about how Rosalind believes she is a seer. They speculate that the terrain is so rough, the Cobalt team would need a guide. We then directly cut to Boomer, leading the president's team. We cut back to Adama and his plan to go to Cobalt in a raptor. Showing cracks in his atheism, Adama speaks of Zeus's warning that all returns to Cobalt come at the cost of blood. Adama tells the team he's not prepared to risk lives. Adama goes on to say that the disagreement can only be solved by Rosalind and him. We cut back to Tom Zarek trying to be indispensable to Rosalind. Lee cuts him down and puts him in his place. Meyer and Zarek have a moment when they revisit killing Lee. Does anybody want to reflect on this? This is when we cut to the credits.
I did like how they were showing that the two groups were not together, but were both moving in the same direction between Adama and the ground team. And all the foresight that Adama showed in guessing what they would be doing shows his quality as a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his complete understanding of Rosalind and how he suspects she would go about finding this landmark was quite clever. I especially liked how the chief was able to volunteer the information he had, because they're saying, "Oh, we're going to start with the Opera House because that's where Chief and them they were nearby originally." So they figured that'd be a good landing spot, and then they start speculating as to which direction they'd go, where the lands would be. I also liked how Adama was being objective with regards to how he was describing Rosalind and her visions. He's like,
right.
She has the visions, whether it's true or not, she believes in them and those that follow her believe in them. So that's how we have to start thinking if we want to be able to find where they're going. Mm-hmm. It's very open-minded of him. It's also acknowledging like maybe this is this could be something deeper than what he's conditioned to think based on his military experience and training. I also really like the fact that Zarek is quite obviously on the fence with regards to what James Remar is telling him. Like mm-hmm. he's basically like he's got some doubts, and you kind of see that he wants to think of himself not just as the old political terrorist he was, but perhaps someone that will go further. And I also really enjoyed how Adama decided to bring Billy with him on the Raptor.
Yeah, that was a good call. And I mean, also
I haven't seen him for a few episodes, so
you could tell that, like, Adama was taking in all aspects of the situation, and coming to the conclusion. I don't think he was accepting the scriptures or anything, but he was recognizing that they did, and that they were on some kind of like a religious quest, and so that adds into the possibilities and outcomes of what could be happening at that time. It shows the difference between him and Ty too, because Ty just laughed it off, like didn't even accept it as any kind of information that would be useful, whereas Adama did.
Well, there was also, I think, a good foresight on Adama's part by bringing Billy along, because that builds a bridge. And of course, he wants to build that peace bridge with Rosalind, and Billy's a good conduit for that. So, that was ace thinking on his part right there. So yeah, I really like that interplay of cuts in the beginning, because you see the careful planning that Adama's doing, trying to get the lay of the land before they put together the Raptor mission. And then, you get to see the other team already on the ground, and they're going through that tough slog to get to where they're going. So
yeah, it was very National Geographic. because you know you
Good
see all these
explanation. I like it.
overlaying pictures, and sometimes the scenes actually meld into one another. So we see Adama over the book with the big magnifying glass, and that of course melds into the COBOL map and things like that. So it's a very interesting little setup before the credits. It's very National Geographic Livingston discovering the Victoria Falls or coming upon Victoria Falls, and yeah, it's neat.
Paradise, I see you out there, Brian. I see you out there. Stop making fun of me. Stop it.
And Orville Nation is in the house, guys.
I see, and PJ, I love you. I'm not saying I'd eat Jello out of your ass, but I miss you. I miss you.
Tehillim 29, Mark. Anybody else new we have in here? Thank you for coming, everyone.
Toxic Man Flu said, "I'm sorry, I had to throw up with the vision of Drew as a pill popping hooker."
Yeah, I was actually going to ask if we could marquee that. I just think that's great. I mean, TMF. Thanks, baby.
Well, I feel like that right now, man, because I'm on, good God, Tox, I'm on all these freaking pills right now, and it sucks. I want to be done with pills.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug, Parrot Head. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that, buddy. I love you.
Yes. Speaking of Parrot Head, just send me some cocaine. There you go.
Okay, nobody do any drugs at all, please. Unless you're in Canada, and then you're allowed to smoke recreational pot, have a party, do whatever you got to do, but don't do drugs, folks. Kids at home.
Don't abuse drugs. That would probably be the most thing.
Don't do drugs. Yeah. Don't do drugs. And
as he says with a joint in your mouth.
Is that what that is? That's
Brian. Oh yeah, it's totally tobacco. Brian, don't instigate Parrot Head. Parrot Head's been sending me booby pictures all week since last week. All week. He's an instigator.
But did you like it? That's what the real question is.
I have liked it.
Okay, well then why are you bitching? Parrot Head, I love you.
Parrot Head's a toxic male, man. I love the guy.
Parrot Head is fun, and he's not a toxic male. He is actually extremely respectful and.
Oh yeah, he is. I'm just saying he's a toxic male in all the good ways.
Yes. But there's only one TMF.
But Tehillim, it's great to see you too. PJ, I'm so glad you could be here, dude. We got to hook up one of these times and talk, because we haven't talked since I've been going through this thing, and I want to catch up with you. But yeah, you know, as far getting back on track here, the home part 1 and 2 to me are that's one of the really good 2-parters of season 2, and just the way that this second part starts out, I really do enjoy it.
I do enjoy it. Last week got me because my son was going away with his grandparents for the summer, and so I was thinking about family and everything. And but I love that episode. But he's gone now for a week, so I don't give a shit about this one. I'm just saying.
Wow.
No, I love this. Wait till we get to Trisha. Trisha. I love Trisha Health. Trisha, I swear I will marry you. I swear to God. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna move it along before hot and heavy. Keep your hands to yourself, or don't keep your hands to yourself. Okay, so after we cut from the credits, we have Sharon leading the team by Hera's Temple. And Hera's Temple is, I guess, on the way to Athena's Temple. So this is a major landmark. The team argues over religion, monotheism versus polytheism, and there's snark aplenty. Then we cut to Gaius and Six in the brig. Six is naked as a jaybird. They talk about their baby toaster. They argue. Six is suddenly clothed, much like a psychiatric patient. She tells Gaius he doesn't have a Cylon chip. She isn't real, and Gaius is batshit crazy. She giggles psychotically. Gaius is visibly shaken. She presses that he has no chip. She tells him she is in his subconscious. She tells him she is a manifestation of his mental breakdown following his participation in the genocide of the human race. She goads him to seek medical treatment, tells him to go to the doctor and get a brain scan. Gaius storms out of the brig. Six is grinning like Jack Torrance in The Shining. Any comments?
Naked.
Yeah.
Oh, I was actually more turned on by her sweats and
So
better
was I.
hairstyle.
So was I. So was I, Script, and I'll tell you why. It's because it had that laundry day look, so she wasn't wearing any underwear. Y'all know what I mean.
Sure. But I just like the little piece of home thing because I grew up in a small town, and
she was
usually if a woman can pull off that look and still maintain a sense of sexiness, yeah, that's an impressive.
Hey, I got that parrot head. I got that. That's a collector's item, buddy.
Parrot head. I got those pictures.
I got that. I got that issue, buddy. That's a collector.
She's such a stunningly gorgeous woman. I mean, just real talk. Trisha Elfer is just so beautiful, and yeah, she could pull off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and of course she had a makeup team, working with her, but she can pull off stark nude and stunning, and she can pull off like that I'm at home look, like in the same scene, just as stunning, just as beautiful. So, and her acting ability is coupled with her beauty. She's a wonderful actress.
Well, I also really like the context of this scene, which is that Baltar is trying to basically say, I'm tired of your games, I'm tired of your BS. Everything that you're doing is just a waste of my time. And then she's like, oh, okay, well then I'm not really here. Like, and it's just another game, which is now furthering more doubt into him as well. And I like the fact that the instant he starts to inch closer to a little bit more understanding of how he's being manipulated, she's just doubling down with like, yeah, you're still 4 or 5 steps behind me, and this is how I'm going to show you.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He was playing that "woe is me" game. I don't believe what's going on. We've seen him do this before, and then she had to go mama bear on him for a minute. She had to slap him around, teach him a little bit.
But on top of that, we also see how deep she's gotten into him, because he does fall back onto the whole God's plan, like one God. He's fully accepted that. Like she's as soon as he says that, she knows he's got him. She's got him hook, line, and sinker for the long haul. It's now the rest is just having fun and allowing him to fully commit to her as the this subconscious, this angel thing. Oh, excuse me, this angel thing that's going to be manipulating and dragging him through the rest of his life. It's it's fun.
Oh yeah, it's the line at when you get to the very end, the line at the very end. Look at this.
And I can still always hold this over everybody and say, "Are you jelly?"
Look at this guy. Look, Chad.
Now,
look,
that's a good looking sandwich.
Look, that's Drew's "I have an erection" face. Look at that face.
Oh my god!
It's actually not Drew's face. That's just him drawing a smile on his penis. That's in between.
Oh,
that is so cool, man. That is so cool.
Yeah,
that was.
I'd love to meet these, man.
Oh, that was an awesome time. Oh my gosh.
All the shit I talk, guys, about the ladies on this show is because I appreciate them.
Smile on his penis. That's in between.
Oh, that is so cool, man. That is so cool.
Yeah, that was.
It's either a funny delay or just some sort of weird look into the future.
Me? I didn't. Okay, so I wasn't hearing that.
WTF?
No, we were all hearing that.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. That's on my end.
The other part, which I found was kind of a funny and a little cheeky joke, is that the whole mountains of Hera are 2 mountains which, look like a woman on her back, just the mountains of Hera, and then inside is the tomb of Athena, and it's like there's a lot of metaphor and allegory there.
You hear, Script Doctor? we've infected Script Doctor. His mind's in the gutter now. We've done it.
It's true, because actually Hera has nothing to do with Athena. Right? As we know, Athena was created out of Zeus's head. There was no procreation, there was no copulation, and Hera had zero to do with the creation of Athena.
There's
What?
Mr.
That's
B.
right. The only time Zeus got down and dirty was when he dressed up as like a duck or some sort of animal.
A swan.
Swan penis. Hey, what's going on, Brian?
Welcome back, stranger.
Ryan!
I finally got everything set up and the computer's updated, and I should be good to go. But it all
Okay.
depends on the internet.
Welcome home.
All right. So,
Well, thank you.
So, Brian, you want to chime in on anything so far?
I'm still kind of catching up. I was kind of playing catch up, watching y'all on YouTube while I was eating supper. So
Okay.
slowly starting to remember. I didn't get a chance to recap this episode because my hard drive's been connected to my dad's TV. He's been watching episodes of Mandalorian, so I finally got the hard drive back, and I was going to start catching up. I didn't get a chance to today.
Well, that's
I went to the chiropractor and kind of slept.
I did scenes like I did like a little synopsis of each scene, so don't worry.
Okay.
I got you covered.
I think the last thing I heard y'all talking about was
Naked
the
women.
chip with it was Gaius and what are we calling her? Angelica still?
Angel
That was
Yeah, Angel 6.
Angel 6 that's in his head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how she was messing with his head. And, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I started following Trisha and Katie on Twitter, and I've been watching Katie's YouTube channel. And I watched them go through the nitrogen, and apparently they went and did a wasp sting thing too. So you got to see like Trisha's face all swollen. It's like I guess it's like an alternative to Botox, but
What?
yeah, with beautiful women. Yeah, it's I think it was Tuesday of this week. Trisha posted the picture where their face is swollen.
That's it, Brian. Now I got to talk about it. I wasn't going to bring it up on this stream, but now I got to talk about it on John Talks last night. Y'all know the YouTuber Nerd Cookies. Her mother-in-law's job is putting coffee in people's butts.
What?
Yeah, a coffee enema.
A coffee enema? Yes, Brian. Brian knows everything.
What?
Yes,
Yeah, it's a coffee enema.
they butt chug coffee, yo.
Yeah, that's nothing new. Like what that started
Not to me.
trending 12 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's even older than that. There's a lot of, if you want to cure stuff, put it in your butt.
Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
man.
that's true.
Yeah, that's an age-old practice. I think ever since we climbed down from trees, we were putting stuff in our butt. Unfortunately,
That's all about the biome. That's what they're talking about. Like, fix your stomach with the biome, and coffee will do
Yes.
it. Beer will do it. Like it's all.
fecal transplant.
I promise you, I did not plan for a butt stuff stream.
Look, man, it's not in my family tree, Raquel. All right, none of my ancestors, my culture never said, "Oh, if you're not feeling good, put this in your ass." No.
No.
Well, maybe your culture's a little more
tell you
prudish
that
than the
if you
rest.
got sick and you were elderly, it would be likely that you would get a fecal transplant. That
Oh man,
it has been proven
okay.
to cure disease or to cure
Well,
illness.
it's the same thing. Like with the
That's a good
probiotic
comment.
yogurt.
Wrong way.
What? Hold on. Are you saying put somebody else's dude?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
There's a South Park episode about it. You can.
Oh.
Yes. It is a medical procedure, and what it does
work.
is it introduces the flora that is required inside of your body to fight off disease that you are not resistant to.
It fixes the interior lining of your stomach as well, and it just it has a lot of benefits.
Gives
To
you
it,
good
but it's-
bacteria.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Y'all are weird. I'm not putting.
Well,
No. If you
have y'all heard
find
about
yourself in
the?
an old folks' home, it is likely you will have to have one of those fecal transplants because you may not have the bacteria inside of your system to fight off, the diarrhea.
Whatever infections or illness you might have. at
Guys,
the
we're
time.
running the viewers off. Come on.
Well, he asked.
Well, before we get too far off of this, there's a doctor that has a 92% cure rate with cancer, and what he does is he'll take urine and cleanse it, and this guy's been doing it since the 70s, and he's finally cleared by the FDA. But he's down in Texas, but you have to go through one round of chemo anywhere else in the rest of the United States before you can go to see him. But he has a 92% cure rate for all
That's
cancer.
when you know you're in trouble.
What's? Oh my God!
Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry.
See, we just give you a mutated form of the measles up here if you got some cancerous tumors. It's not the easiest list to get onto, but it has a pretty good work.
Ryan, what does he do with the urine?
Well,
have you seen the
he'll
movie The
cleanse
Program?
it, and then it gets injected.
Yeah.
I mean, I can look it up again right quick.
Yeah.
I'll seen you a link.
Steven, have
Yeah,
you ever seen
it
the
gets
football
injected
game,
into your
the football
vein.
movie called The Program?
Maybe.
Yes.
Yo,
Like,
I don't
if
know.
you have a guy that's on roids and he has to do a urine test, what he does is he empties out his bladder and then he just injects someone else's into his bladder so that he can pass the urine
And we
test.
don't condone any of that on this show. Please
This
do not
shit out.
clutter this show. We do not condone any of these medical procedures. If you are ever feeling sick or ill, please consult your physician. Please consult a licensed physician if you are feeling ill or you are scared or you are looking for alternative medicines. Discuss this with
And
your
if they
doctor.
tell you to
Ask to
put
see their
something up
grades.
your
Okay.
ass, get a second opinion. Fuck that.
Ask to see their grades. If they graduate with
I
a B
have
or
the
an A,
doctor's
is how
name now.
depends what you what type of treatment you'll get.
No, apparently don't see my
It's,
ER doctor either.
No, don't. I think he graduated with a 52% average.
Oh no. Okay. Well, we're not going to
But we're
say
going to stop it there. And we're going to get back to Trisha Helfer.
Yeah.
And her
Okay,
beautiful
let's get
skin.
right back to the show.
Good idea.
Back to
Okay.
naked ladies. Okay.
So we cut to Adama's team in a Raptor making their descent, Cobalt bound. Chief sucks at topography mapping, so Racetrack takes over. Chief calls topography readers pansies. Billy is aboard. Adama has dragged him along to appeal to Roslyn. Adama tells Billy Roslyn trusts him and thinks a lot of him. Adama confides in Billy that Roslyn believes Billy will be the president one day. Racetrack interrupts to tell them to buckle up for landing. They're coming in rough and hot. Any comments?
Oh man, it'd be nice to get back to coming in rough and hot when I feel better.
Oh shit! Beware the Drew.
Parrot
Listen,
head, beware.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud.
Listen, you know what?
Damn, Drew, you gotta warm it up first. You don't just go in dry.
Oh, Brian!
Yeah, you got to be a gentleman.
He started it.
Oh, I'm a gentleman, man. You know, hey.
I'm gonna have to skip this round. I'm gonna have to stare at Grace Park's ass and remember that there's only very limited number of things that should go in something so beautiful.
But no, I like the exchange between Adama and Billy. He's explaining to him about a little bit about they get it talking about the president of the colonies, Adar, before the fall of Caprica and all that, and they're just having a good banter back and forth, and Billy's character is just really endearing. One of the things that I really liked about and that I was really upset about when he left the show was the guy that Paul Campbell that played Billy. I thought he did such a good job, and Billy was a good character. I really enjoyed Billy as a character.
Mhm.
But that exchange to me in this episode is one that really stands out. I really like that, the exchange in the Raptor, the conversation they had.
Yeah, he really brought a like an innocence to the political side of the show.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah,
I also like the fact that it shows that off camera just how much Roslyn and Adama were bonding and where all that sexual energy came from and where their bond came from. It was nice to drop that conversation, that sort of off camera conversation into this mix because we are considering, that mom and dad are currently fighting, right? And so to see that they had bonded over many things on and off camera just shows the strength and the depth of their relationship, and it leads the viewer in that direction.
It was a fun tie-in seeing that brought up at the beginning, which is something I really loved about the show is you'll generally, 9 times out of 10, something that's said in private will get brought up in public later on.
Yeah.
And that I thought that was really good with the writing.
Like butt chugging coffee.
Yep.
Could we please marquee 7:44 p.m. Parrot Head? That's a waste of perfectly good coffee. Thank you, Parrot Head. Love you. Y'all need Jesus.
Well, you know, some of the most expensive coffee in the world comes out of a cat's ass.
Yeah,
Right?
it's that civet coffee. And Jack Nicholson drinks it. He swears by it. He says it's the best coffee he's ever had. And it's a pellet, exactly like owl stool. It's a pellet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a bean.
Yeah, it's
Coffee. We literally drink hot bean water.
That's a bean, all right.
It's beans. Yeah. Well, because it comes inside like some of them are like little berries, and you grab the seed out and you just boil that. And
I'm getting off social media. I don't want to know any of this. I don't want to know any of this existed. This is a nightmare
this
scenario.
is part of the reason why I don't drink coffee, because the first sip I ever had was so bitter. Even with all the sugar and milk I put into it, I just couldn't handle it anymore. So I just don't drink it.
Brian, isn't it like $70 a cup or something like that?
Yeah, it's very expensive. Get like one of those like.
Well, you got to pay to keep the cat alive, right? So
That's crazy expensive.
Yeah, I got to get some cats, man. We got to figure this process out. We're missing out. There's people out there.
So the civet chews the beans and they quasi-digest them. So they're semi-digested. After they're excreted, then that's when they are at their brewing best, according to Jack Nicholson.
All right, Jack.
actually, you could probably achieve the same result with a little bit of sulfuric acid. Wouldn't you have to go through a cat?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it seems like the digestive acids help pull some of the calm the acidity of the bean down a bit.
Yeah,
It's
but
supposed to be really smooth, like the people that.
Arms. We eat bee spit. You know,
well, that's funny. Yeah,
That's different.
Oh, that's different.
That's different. That's okay.
Yeah,
well, that's pure sugar.
Yeah, Parrot Head says, put alcohol in your coffee. You won't care where it comes from.
Can we marquee that? That's cute. I love you, Parrot Head.
Yeah, he's right. Damn it.
First of all, you always put coffee in your alcohol, not alcohol in your coffee.
Keep it moving, people.
We try to review Battlestar Galactica here. I'm sorry.
I come back and I take us off on all these tangents. I apologize.
It's
Quite all right. It's been too long since we've heard your wonderful voice, sir.
Oh yeah, well, it's June now. It's been it's June 11th, so it's been about 3 months since I've had a stable connection and a decent headset that wasn't connected to a phone.
There you go. So
Can we marquee Toxic Man Flu 5:54 p.m.? How sick was the first person to say, I'm going to make a drink out of that cat poop?
Word, right? You normal people don't think about these things. I'm saying, there's people that's going to buy this. Yo, we got to get some cats, Toxic. We got to get an army of cats. We are missing out.
So that's how those crazy cat ladies afford their rent.
Oh,
yeah.
That's where it's coming from. Scripters figured it out. Hell, brother.
Yeah, you did.
Moving right along. Let's roll right along. We cut to the president's team settling into their overnight camp. Lee and Kara talk about Boomer and Hilo. How Hilo doesn't care that Boomer is a machine and he, quote, loves her anyway. Lee is grossed out and says Hilo can't be trusted. He should be watched. Kara takes Hilo's side, saying Hilo is a friend. Lee reminds Kara that Sharon was a friend too. We go to Hilo and Boomer's conversation. Boomer pledges her loyalty. They talk about her multiples. Hilo says he likes weird. That's a direct quote. I like weird. The camera goes to the president, poring over the scriptures. Myra and Zarek are talking about her trauma, and they're back to the discussion of killing Lee. Zarek hesitates, and Meyer presses. They discuss discrete options that won't implicate them in Lee's demise. They hatch a plan to get Boomer to kill Lee, and then they will kill Boomer. Zarek says he wants it done after the tomb is found. Does anybody want to comment on this scene?
Isn't this the scene where Boomer's still handcuffed when her and Hilo are having that little conversation where he says he likes weird?
No, I don't think he's handcuffed. Oh, she's
No,
handcuffed.
she's handcuffed.
She's not handcuffed.
Okay, so she's more trusted at this point, but still
Well, they're also
Like
the terrain.
they're like what? They're way more separated from the rest of the group because everybody else has maybe like a 8-foot spacing between their different little groups, and they're
Yes,
like
they're practicing social
20
distancing.
foot way off.
Mhm.
Oh Lord, don't get me started.
They were practicing social distancing, and she didn't have the cuffs on because they were climbing this really sloped
Yeah.
terrain. So
Yeah.
they would have had to have drug her up the hill.
Yeah. So they sort of mixed like Greek ruins with like Mayan ruins here, and Stephen is correct. They're going up inclines that look almost 90 degrees. So it
Yeah.
would be impossible for her to be cuffed because she just wouldn't be able to lead the team. And with the priestess now gone, dead,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that was where I was confused. I think.
Yeah, she kind of earned her reprieve last episode when she saved Lee.
Yeah, that's when they uncuffed her. I
Yeah.
think.
That's when they uncuffed her.
I apologize. I'm still playing catch up.
No.
I'll be on par next week.
Do you know what I really enjoy? Grace Park, amazing. She plays basically two different characters throughout the whole first season, and now she's playing just the one, but she's in this stressful situation. So we're getting to see how she acts and how the character acts, just under duress, consistently having to prove herself over and over. I really enjoy that. It's that woman has a very good range of acting ability, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, when she's on Galactica and she shoots herself in the face, just the look on her face is just the way that she emotes, what the internal writhings of this character and the utter despair. Her face is just wow. She's amazing. She's a really, really, really good actress. This is top-notch acting.
Hey, what, Script? You ain't got nothing to say? Fine. That's all right. That's fine.
#, beware the neighbor.
Beware the neighbor. That's what happened. Somebody tried to come into Script's house. They found out.
Help me out. TMF, help me out.
He'll put coffee in your ass. He's methodical. He's nasty.
Shall we continue? Does anybody else have anything to say? Yeah.
No, not after that comment.
There's some interesting research surrounding that, Parrot Head. They believe that if you're an atheist or an agnostic, or you believe in evolution like I do, before we climbed down from the trees, we were picking up fetid fruit off of the forest floor, and we were using it to become inebriated. So the fermentation was happening on the forest floor, and this is, of course, back
and
up.
that is what led to people putting things in their ass, was eating that fruit.
No, that is what led to our love affair with alcohol before we had agriculture.
Well, humans aren't the only animal that actually get drunk. Bears, giraffes,
birds,
they'll all eat fermented stuff on purpose. There's bears in Russia that huff gasoline.
Wow, really?
Well,
and it's not something they do once and get messed up and leave it alone. No, they keep coming back.
They do it consistently, and birds, of course, will eat the rotten berries off of a mountain ash, and they get. It's kind of like tequila. It's like being drunk and stoned.
There's a video clip from like the 80s.
TMF.
Well, Bear isn't here to answer that question right now.
Yeah.
But there's this other ancient clip from like the 80s. I think it was a nature show. It might be maybe a little earlier than that. So around that time period. But it shows. I can't think of the name. One of the trees in Africa has a really large fruit, and they ferment and fall off. And all these different animal groups will show up to this one area and just all get wasted. And they're all cool with each other. They don't fight. They don't hunt. They just get drunk. So it's very cool. I can't remember the name of it. If I do, I will share it next week.
Yeah.
It's like nature's house party.
In North America, you can achieve the same thing by just simply planting a mountain ash. in your backyard and the birds will just come. I have dozens upon dozens of them. I've had up to 50 or 60 birds at one time just feasting and just getting wasted, like Parrothead says, at 8 p.m. My grandfather had a tree that had berries that got birds wasted, and he is correct. It was probably, if it was North America, it was probably a mountain ash.
Oh,
Where'd Brian go? We lost Brian.
Yeah, Toxic Man Please said, only if a guy in a man bun is there to grind the beans.
Man bun. I call that like actually a garbage bag tie. Anyway.
Every time I hear a cat's meow, that's what I'm going to think of, at least for the next 2 weeks. I could be making my cha-ching, meow, cha-ching. That's what I'm going to be thinking about.
Brian, come back. Wherever you went.
I'll be back. He just set up his system, so he might have just, tripped a cord or something.
All right. Okay, so shall we continue, gentlemen?
Yeah.
All right, let's do a couple of scenes so that we move along here. We cut to the morning. Hilo and Boomer talk about their baby. Then Takara telling the president about the resistance. She asks Rosalind for a Caprica rescue team. Rosalind shoots down her idea. She just says, look, I can't deal with this right now. We'll talk about it later. We cut to Gaius getting a brain scan, and Six is there, and she's taunting him hardcore. She makes him look
that smirk.
Yeah, she makes him look nuts. Like, she makes him look like he snapped his crayons. He's so spastic, and he's going all over the place inside of the machine. He makes a complete fool out of himself. Any comments on these two scenes?
No, I
love that Doc Cottle.
The scan room was hilarious. That was great.
Yeah, the way Cottle's giving him hell the whole time. He's like, "Stay still."
Yeah.
I think she disrupted him 3 or 4 times. And God, for the life of me, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what she was doing, but I think it was something sexual to get him to jiggle and move around.
Yeah, and she takes like a love shot at him, and that's what makes him smash his head on the upper part of the machine, I think.
Oh yeah.
She's sort of, she's driving him crazy about him being crazy, and he obviously says what every lunatic always says: "I'm not crazy."
Mm-hmm.
I think this was the first time you could see Cottle actually starting to raise an eyebrow about Gaius.
Yeah.
Well, Cottle was great.
Knowing that, this guy ain't quite right. Yeah,
he's just rolling his eyes like, "Got to start this again. Could you stop?"
Yeah.
Isn't he in the control room just chain smoking the whole time?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, he's trying to kill himself, and he's doing it in a way that's pleasurable. It's like, I'm just gonna keep smoking until you guys are on your own.
Right.
Well, smoking is suicide on a plan, so that's a good way of getting there.
Yeah. Oh, of course, Stephen, you've
Into the
got
human
that
race,
clip.
you might as well go out how you want.
Yeah. Right.
What script?
Of course, you would have that particular clip for your.
Oh yeah, I had this thing. I've had this thing. Yeah. Love Trisha. Yeah, she grabbed his she grabbed his flagpole and made him jump.
Yeah.
And Doc Cottle is my favorite character, I think, in the whole show. Will you stop going crazy in there?
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
The crazy eyes. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy.
Yeah. I love him because of how much he reminds me of Dr. McCoy.
He does remind me of McCoy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just, he's
McCoy with a cigarette.
And didn't care, like, at all.
Exactly, Steven.
Yeah, he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Oh man. That's one of the that stood out in this episode to me too. That thing in a CAT scan room was funny.
Yeah.
Cat-ching.
Yeah, I love how Doc Cottle definitely had the Dillagaff attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. I guess that's about it.
Okay, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then we cut to Meyer trying to get Boomer to kill Lee based on her after what we find in the tomb usefulness. He frightens her by telling her what happened to the Galactica Sharon. And if humans want her baby toaster to be born, the whole camp goes on defense when someone is heard in the brush. Lee pulls his gun, and it's on Adama, who clearly wanted to be heard. Everyone puts down their weapons but Lee, who is just in absolute shock. Adama quietly tells him to lower his weapon, and Lee obeys. Okay, here's where I can't even talk. The father and son embrace. The pain and relief on Adama's face is soul-shaking. The power of parental love. Adama is weeping. Lee lets out a massive sigh. Rosalind is standing next to them now. Rosalind acknowledges Adama as commander, but Adama replies informally, "It's good to see you." Billy steps forward. The president lights up in joy. Adama approaches a breaking Kara. He gently strokes the bangs from her face. Again, intense pain and relief. I bawl here. The camera goes to Sharon approaching. The chief calls to the commander in shock. Everyone freezes. Hilo says, "She's with us, Commander." Adama slips into a PTSD flashback and throws Sharon to the forest floor. He grabs her by the throat, draws his face an inch from her, and says, "I want you to die." Anybody want to comment here?
Everything about that scene was a positive male aspect. If somebody had shot me and I thought I saw them right before my eyes, I'd want to kill them too.
Yeah.
I also loved, I loved that whole. I loved seeing him and Apollo. You know, like all the trauma that we went through, the struggles we went through emotionally last week, and all the displays of how much it was hurting him, in everything he was doing to recognize how much he was hurting over the situation.
Yeah,
See that feeling.
He's reunited with his son and daughter. I mean, that's can't beat that.
Yeah, and then
for me, this is like the yeah. For me, this is like the closure for the line in the last episode where he said, "We're getting the family back together."
Yeah.
When like everybody, like Rosalind now has a support system again after the priestess dies, and it's to me this is one of the best episodes in the whole show series.
This was one of my favorites in the entire second season, Brian.
Did you guys catch the fact that while she was being choked, the last line she said to him, or one of the last things she said to him was, "You asked me why."
Yep.
Oh, but that's next. That's not in this scene. That's the next scene.
Oh, that's where we got to the choking. I'm sorry.
Well, the commercial break is that part, and when we come back, it opens.
Yeah, they do a cut, Stephen, where it's really quick, and I think the reason why they did it here is they wanted to reset the scene because it's so intense.
That's going to two extremes in one scene. Although we were going to get, I don't know. I don't like it. I didn't like such a show of affection on one end, and then just going to the complete extreme in the next. It was jarring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had the same reaction. I sort of thought to myself, the thing is here is that you are relating to your audience, and at this point, as the mother of an adult child, these types of scenes have a profound impact on me because, of course, it's incredibly easy to personalize something because the wellness, the health and wellness and success and relationship you have with your adult child is so much different than when they're young. So this is this powerful and beautiful moment where he's connecting with both of his kids. When he strokes that hair away from that beautiful young woman's face, and you could just feel the power and love, and Kara's lip is quivering, and there's all this intense love, and how quickly it turns to rage. And while that is great, and that's a wonderful device and stuff, I agree with Stephen. I think it happened too quickly here. I was just ready to be on the verge of the ugly cry, and then all of a sudden there's this huge surge of immediate violence, and it's coming from the same man, and I'm not quite sure that it works. I think they should have taken longer with this scene. I agree with Stephen.
Well, that's just because Sharon is the perpetual looming threat on the fleet from their perspective. So narratively wise, the reason they did that is because it ends on a commercial break. You have to compel the audience to not change the channel. Yeah. So that's why he snapped, grabbed her by the throat, and threw her to the dirt. Yeah. When we come back, you then have to resolve that conflict. And the other part too is the scene sets up itself conflict and resolution rather quickly. They're at the camp. They hear a brush. There's your conflict. They find out it's Adama. Okay, there's your resolution. Then Sharon comes in the picture. Oh, there's your conflict again. Like there's no respite here because this is a series that does not give our characters a time to have that cathartic sigh of relief. If they do, it's basically going to be only a few seconds. It's not until you get to the very end of the series where they finally can say, now we can rest, because that's the whole point of the show, is that the struggle for survival is one that doesn't afford time for relaxation, essentially.
It's true. That has been a device in the writing throughout the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure how I feel about it here. Although I do agree with SD that it does really heighten things, doesn't it?
For me, it's almost it's a logical thing to follow, because we're getting the family back together, and he has all the pieces that he's been missing for 7 episodes at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, he woke up in 3. Episode
5. He woke up in 5.
Episode 5.
Well, think of it this way:
so
Sharon represents the
now.
catalyst that broke the family apart, right?
Yeah.
So,
but she's also she's a threat to his family. So that's why there would be a huge snap in the emotion. Just from my personal experiences and what I've been through and what I've seen, just in various situations. Like that's why, I guess if you haven't seen something like that, it wouldn't seem normal for him to snap like that. But I've witnessed stuff like that happen. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, it does kind of follow, but it does also, it flows in with the strings flying up in the beginning of the intro and everything like that to build tension. So, like SD said, it's a tool.
Mm-hmm.
It is, but also think of it this way.
PTSD, right? And this does show you how quickly somebody with PTSD can snap. It's just, I think, that as a person who really loves these adult relationships with adult children, I wanted it to be suspended a little bit so I could just enjoy myself a little bit.
No, we have to rob that from you to elicit exactly that emotional reaction.
Yes, exactly.
It would have been very nice to have more of the happiness, and like you were talking, the ugly cry.
We'll have it linger a bit longer before it turned into the WWE.
Well, I mean, the problem is sometimes you have this thing where it's like, yes, you want to give them that beat, but you then have the pregnant pause that's cut in half to the point where you can't have that exhale, and that's kind of what you want in a narrative point at some point, especially considering the fact that Sharon's actions at the end of the first season took Adama out of the game, and Adama saw what happened to his fleet when he was taken out of the game. Right. And the last thing he wants is for that to happen again, and that's exactly what this entire episode is kind of setting up now with these two back together. It's like, oh, is Sharon going to have that programming again and try and kill Adama as the other Sharon did? So this is all up in the air right now. This is the question that the writers are trying to seed into the audience for the remaining of the episode. Like, will she, complete her mission that we've seen her other model do? Yeah. And you kind of want that. And Adama has the best reaction and appropriate reaction for it, which is you can tell in his and everything he does. It's all because he was taken out for days. He had to leave his idiot friend in charge of the fleet, who then declared martial law, caused a division, pretty much got everyone in this position already, and he didn't have to, because there's nothing to say that because of the relationship between Roslyn and Adama, that they would have gotten to this point anyways without any of the loss of life or conflict that they've already endured because of his absence. Like there's something to him where he thinks we probably still could have found some sort of common ground to both get what we want, knowing the stakes that we have to face. And Sharon cost him
Steven's avatar. That's an homage to your commentary.
That's your Colonel Ty right there.
That's
right. In his younger days.
Is that Kim Jong Tai? I loved that Rachel kept calling him that. I'm like, that is freaking perfect right there. Kim Jong Tai.
But but the thing is that it was such a great scene, right? When you see them reunified, because that's what the whole last episode, the lesson was teaching us about him struggling with his emotions, and then we get to see him around basically his kids and his wife, his work wife, and then but the first place my mind went to powerfully was him choking. Damn, I can't think of her name now. Sharon, thank you. Because that's just where it went. It took me right there. So instead of appreciating the reunification of the family.
Yeah.
To me, I still
on the chat for 6 minutes. Is the chat okay? Is something going on my end?
No, I think I'm just captivated.
Everybody's just kind of listening to us.
Yeah. Okay, I love the chat.
We've actually struck the chord.
But the thing is, I think in that moment, Adama saw Boomer. I also don't think he realized that that's a different Sharon.
No, he wouldn't anyway. That's the kind of psychological reaction. Yeah. You expect that reaction. First off, humans don't think in terms of copies, and so
humans are vengeful creatures.
That's that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, like if somebody I thought had died who had attempted to kill me just showed up out of nowhere, I don't care what reasoning you try and give me. I'm going to see that person as the one who tried to murder me. So I get his reaction entirely. Choke a bitch until you have a heart attack. That's what he did. Yeah. I'm sorry I jumped ahead. I apologize, guys. I try not to do that. I apologize.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
It's just the what really struck me about that was her mentioning that you asked me why. She had gone through an autopsy. Her sister model had already gone through an autopsy and was laying in a freaking cooler when he said those words.
Yeah, which is really scary. So let's just go into that scene that Stephen's talking about, because it is a very compelling scene. So we cut to reset the scene, and it is a little bit awkward. Stephen and I agree on that. We both think that it's a little bit awkward that they did this here. And we immediately return to this same scene, only now it's sort of like a drone is looking down on the scene. The team encircles the commander, and they beg him to stop choking Boomer. He continues choking her until he finally drops by her side. It's quite sudden, and you can tell that he's in pain. Sharon says, "You ask why." And she is, of course, referring to why the Cylons want Adama dead. Sharon leaps into Hilo's protective arms while Adama, still recovering from being shot, rests in his son's lap. Meyer gives Sharon the "I told you so" eyes. So it's pretty bad at this point. Things are heating up, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then we cut to Galactica. Coddle is showing Gaius his empty brain scans. It's another McCoy moment as Coddle points to each brain image and says, "Nothing, nothing, nothing, nothing." Gaius presses, asking if there are any unidentified objects. I immediately said out loud, "Unidentified flying objects." Coddle mocks him for being a hypochondriac. Then we cut to Adama and Rosalind talking. He says he forgives her. She says she never asked for his forgiveness. He says she has it anyway. Any thoughts on these two scenes?
There's a hypochondriac on every ship. Love Coddle.
Yep.
That was just funny. But I'll guarantee you this, guys. I guarantee you this. Coddle, no matter how crazy he might think Baltar is not going to prescribe butt chugging. Thank you.
Oh, no.
Not deliberately, unless it's a joke for Coddle to entertain himself with.
At this point, he might ask him to put a mint julep in his rectum. But I don't know. But because
I think he'll tell him to do that more as an insult, but Baltar might take it literal.
Yes.
Brian's in the back room, Drew. So
can we bring him back on? Brian!
And also, I really enjoyed when Adama and Rosalind are sitting down with each other, and he says, "What is it? You betrayed me. You betrayed me. You broke your oath and you betrayed me." And she said, "It's the second part that really bothers you, doesn't it?" And he said, "I forgive you." And when she says, "I didn't ask for your forgiveness," that is so that was very maturely handled between the both of them. It shows Adama. his depth. It shows his character, and it also shows us that Rosalind's like, yeah, but I was right. She's just saying that's basically what she's saying is I was right.
Yeah. Well, here we see Rosalind playing the the upset lover. These two had some pretty nice sparks flying, and she feels betrayed by him. And then, of course, we have Adama realizing that this is more than just someone who he loves. This is more than just sparks flying with this woman who he has this incredible attraction to. He better pull out every stop he has, every card he has in his back pocket as far as diplomacy goes. This is not the time to, say, but I said, you said, but I said, and you said. He realizes that he has to be a diplomat here as well as a lover, a tender lover.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took the L in this battle so he could win the war.
Yeah.
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 That's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
completely agree with what y'all said.
So moving on.
So then we cut to Hilo consoling Sharon. She tells Hilo that they killed the other Sharon in cold blood without a trial. This is all news to Hilo. Chief suddenly appears. Toaster love triangle ensues. Sharon hugs the chief while Hilo fidgets. She kisses Galen. She kisses him on the cheek after a too long, too warm hug. She whispers, "It's good to see you." Galen walks away, and Hilo is visibly jealous. So here we have the toaster love triangle. Any comments?
He's got a baby inside her. He has nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
he shouldn't have anything to worry about. But
He's locked in child support, everything. He's there.
Yeah. Remember, Sharon was with the chief for how long, and she didn't get knocked up. So clearly, the whole love protocol is between Sharon and Hilo, not the chief. So
that wasn't love sex they were having in all those little, broom closets.
well, it was one-sided because I think that Sharon loved the chief, but he just didn't love her back, and Hilo was more genuine, perhaps.
Not to be crass, it just seemed like sport fucking.
Oh, definitely, yeah. At least definitely from his end.
That's just fun sex, right? Like you're just having sex. There's nothing deeper going on. But I do think that this boomer is trying to make a connection with Hilo. And I do think that given the comments of Red 6 here, that we know that the viable vaginas and fallopian tubes are going to specific units. And so I don't know so much of whether or not the Galactica boomer didn't allow herself to get pregnant so much as that would probably be a diplomatic decision on behalf of the Cylons.
Can I just give a shout out to the term viable vagina? Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing you have to remember is that the chief was the one that knew what he was doing was wrong and did it anyways, but he always had some apprehension behind it. And according to the lore of the first season, what we've seen so far is they believe that both the Cylon and the human have to be in love with each other in order for a conception to occur. And I think that Sharon is the type that tries to nurture the love, like she can have the love of the person she's with, but it has to be reciprocated. And I think because of the chief's apprehension, because of the duty, the responsibility, the knowing that what he's doing is wrong, would prevent him from being committed in a way where Hilo, who is like, I'm stuck on this planet, I've got nothing left to lose, the hell with protocol and whatnot, we're just going to try and get off this. And I happen to also fall in love with the woman. He doesn't have a CO of Ty over his shoulder saying, stop screwing, boomer. So there's no one to try to keep him in check or keep him held back onto his responsibilities. He's allowed to succumb to his emotions and feelings.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was a stressful situation, and they both fell in love.
Yep.
I would like to announce that the Pegasus Actual Podcast has created hashtag Beware the Viable Vagina. Thank you.
You don't beware that. You embrace that.
Yeah, you embrace that.
You find a viable vagina. You hold on to that.
That's foreshadowing, folks. We will be discussing that later. I've chosen those words very carefully because we're going to find out later why having a viable vagina is important.
Our chat is trendsetters. Y'all are greatest. The greatest.
You're the real MVP.
That's right.
So where are the boxy theories, chat? Where are the boxy theories? Where is
I think our boxy theorists are all out tonight.
Yeah, I think DJ's got some stuff, and I think Adega's busy with something else. So, but we're wishing them well, and can't wait for them to come back. And
that would be nice, guys. You guys are missed. Come on back, because you're part of the Battlestar Galactica family here. You're a part of the Pegasus Sexual Podcast. So get your butts on back here.
Yeah, get back here, guys. We have viable vaginas.
Okay, so let's move on. So we cut to Meyer and Zarek. Zarek is pissed. Meyer suggests that they kill everyone and go back to Galactica with a map of Earth. Zarek won't go that far. At least, he says, for now. We cut back to Rosalind telling Adama that there are survivors on Caprica. Rosalind concedes that perhaps everyone should have listened to Adama on day one and stayed to fight for their lives in their homes. Adama tells her that the past is the past. Decisions have been made. Life is a gift. Rosalind cuts in and says, from the gods. Adama corrects her. No, from you. It's a romantic overture. He tells her not to second guess herself. He tells her it's time to go find this tomb of hers. Rosalind is grinning ear to ear. Mom and Dad are back on again. Any comments?
I want a hug.
Yeah, it's a beautiful reconciliation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was very well timed, and the pacing on it was very good to me.
I'm surprised at how understanding he can be after choking a bitch till he has a heart attack. And shout out to Adama. Toxic male. Hail, brother.
Yeah. I love
you defend your family. That's part of it.
Yeah. I love this relationship. I love this mature relationship, and I also love these two actors. It's so nice to see two veteran actors at their best, just creating these intimate scenes that help you to escape into this fictional world. And bang up job, guys. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe Donald will get a bang later.
Like two actors you'd never expect to catch in a TV show.
Yeah.
That's what always caught me off guard about these two.
Raquel's salivating. I can't wait for the love scene. When's the love scene between these two?
Sucky now.
All that build-up.
Yeah. Well,
he just out of an operation and was in a coma for a while. He's going to have to be able to walk up a flight of stairs without losing his breath before he can engage.
Oh, no, he's laying down for that one.
Yeah.
Even if he's laying down, he's still going to his heart's still going to go crazy.
Well, even if he has Viagra, he has to be able to do at least 10 push-ups if he wants to have fun.
Survive.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's 10
if he's in the prone position.
So that's the size of it, folks. It's 10 push-ups. Are you able to do 10 push-ups?
Then you can have sex.
Then you can have sex.
Yep.
The Pegasus Actual Podcast endorse you having sex. If you can do 10 push-ups, you are of legal age and are with a consenting person who may or may not have drank coffee that has cat poop in it.
Right.
And have survived a heart attack.
That's why all the incels are so angry. They can't do 10 push-ups.
Oh!
But that person may want to put something in your butt. So #butt chug.
Okay. All right, moving right along. So we cut to Hilo and Sharon complaining about the other Sharon's death and Callie's sentencing. They're incredulous that Callie got 30 days. She appeals to him that they don't think she's a person. Hilo tells her that he'll protect her. They embrace. She tells him she needs to take matters into her own hands. Dun, dun, dun. Hilo pulls away. Sharon asks if Hilo loves her and trusts her. He says yes. She says that he should not ask her what she is going to do. Does anybody want to stop here and talk about it?
Well, it's a nice setup.
Yeah.
Where we're finally getting some action with regards to what James Remer's character is doing and how it's affecting Sharon and how she's going to make a choice to save herself and her child and her relationship with Hilo. So that's all nice, and I like the fact that it's setting up that there's going to be some sort of betrayal. Mm-hmm. And it's well done, and it's done through very rational motivations. We completely understand why Sharon is willing to make a risk of this type, given the circumstances. She has a lot to protect, not just herself and her child, but she wants to protect Hilo. She wants to protect what her promise to Rosalind at this point. So we're all thinking, we're all designed, or at least trying to be manipulated by the writers into thinking of what the worst outcome could be with regards to what Sharon's plan.
Well, yeah, because we've already seen Sharon shoot the old man and actually put him up on an altar and put 2 slugs in his body. So we're already mentally primed for that. So the dun 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 is leading us somewhere really scary, and we're upset.
And Hilo's just like, okay. Dude,
whatever you say. I like toaster strudel. Can I have some toaster strudel?
Oh, is that what we're calling it now?
Yes, toaster strudel. Bet you just got that from me. That's what it is. Beware the toaster strudel.
They do come out of toasters, so I mean, perfect.
And they're a good breakfast item.
Tasty. Yeah.
I want to say that this model has a viable vagina, and I'm going to tell you why. Because she made Chief Tyrrell shut up. The other model, she had made him shut up when he knew that she was basically a terrorist on his vessel, blowing stuff up. Didn't do anything. Got out of that, and now we have Hilo. Your typical meathead soldier. Okay. What? No, she just said, you don't know what that means. Just trust me. Whoa, yeah, that's famous last words for anybody who's been put in a bad situation. Sure. I don't know. Hilo came off as a moron.
He's a jarhead.
Why did he turn into like a sweat hog? He was immediately Vinnie Barbarino. Okay.
Like, I mean, I like Hilo. I'm just saying, she's saying, look, this person was killed. My life is under threat. Your baby's life is under threat. And he's like, I'll do anything. I will do anything to protect you. Right. That's the intelligent answer. He will do anything to protect you. And then she's like, well, I got to pull some shady shit. And you just got to trust me, boo. He was like, okay, no.
He's toaster strudel whipped is what's going on here.
Well, it does.
But as far as we know, he's only done her once, so it's like, he's really.
It was good, but it was viable. It was crazy good. Look what it does to men on this show.
Well, yeah. When a woman's spine glows, you're clearly doing something right, I guess, right?
I'm not even gonna open that one. I'm just gonna leave it where it lies. All right,
I'm done.
Look, honey, your spine's glowing. So we cut to Meyer and Boomer out ahead, leading the team. We're back in the forest. Sharon tells Meyer she'll kill Adama, and Meyer will kill Lee. They come upon the ruins. Kara goes to pull out the arrow, and all the guns come out as Sharon draws. Sharon kills Meyer and his man. She holds a gun to Adama's chest and tells him she's a different Sharon. She tells Adama that she doesn't have any hidden protocols or sleeper programs. She is autonomous. She hands Adama the gun. They hold eyes. They identify the gun as Meyer's, and the plot is revealed. Zarek approaches a wounded Meyer. They whisper about Zarek's due before Meyer gives up the ghost. Any comments?
Sharon,
don't trust anyone wearing a leather jacket.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Brian's got it. Nope, that's better.
Leather jacket gang. What? I don't know. It's I've always really enjoyed that actor. Like he's been in a whole bunch of different TV shows and movies, and I've always loved him. But yeah, like he did fairly good in this role. Like I don't like him being the bad guy, I guess.
I don't understand why they didn't. Well, it's not that I don't understand. I guess I'm just going to complain and whinge a little bit that I wish he would have stayed around longer. I think that he is the consummate bad guy. He's from my generation, and I really like him. I think he's terrific, and I think if I were a writer on this show, I would have tried to use him to his fullest capacity.
I think that's probably a fault but he's in this niche where he does have such a wonderful presence as a bad guy, as a goon, when he steps in, you're getting quality acting from this.
Well, I think he was great at being greasy.
Yeah, yes. I think the reason he was killed off is because that actor was in like 2 other shows at the same time. I think he was doing Sex and the City and prepping for Dexter during that
really?
production for that season. So they
Uh-huh.
probably only had him for a couple of episodes and said, "Hey, this is a character. Let's use him." And
Yeah. But because he's so good that he makes an
Yeah.
impression for the time that he's on screen and his addition to the story, even if he's leading the story. So
He was another one of those surprise actors that you wouldn't have expected to catch on a sci-fi show. But this one just went way and above with their I want to say recruiting, but it's the wrong word.
they're calling.
Yeah, with their cast calls.
Casting, yeah.
Like they did amazing with the names and how they were able to bring huge veterans together and bring in this whole new cast of people and introduce us to people like Jamie Bamber's from across the pond, a whole bunch of Canadians, some Americans, and everybody just melded so perfectly. I think they're almost all of them are still friends.
Yeah.
I see.
When you're on a show for that long and there's no real production issues between the cast, you end up forming a really strong bond with people.
You can see, everyone always says about the original Star Trek that the cast was so committed to their roles that they transcended any difficulties because they were fully committed to their roles. And I definitely see that here as well. Like I feel like this entire cast is committed to craft, and they were determined to use this opportunity to showcase their talent and to not squander it on ego. This was the ultimate, I'm in a rock band and I'm going to make it like Queen or Rush. This isn't going to be Guns N' Roses. They were not going to burn out. They were going to make sure that they made the most of this. And I respect them immensely for it.
Leonard, and the veterans were very supportive of all the newcomers too.
Yeah.
I can't really add anything to that because the only thing I could add is something that happens later on. But
yeah, we're not there yet. I know what you're going to talk about.
Okay, should I keep going, guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so we cut to Kara trying to place the arrow as a key. The team finds a door and pushes it open. It's actually a stone, like a burial stone. Adama gives the order that Sharon and Gila will stay outside, and Galen is to, quote, guard everybody. Adama, Roslyn, Kara, and Lee go inside. They place the arrow on Sagittarian's bow, Toxos. The tomb closes, and it's totally Indiana Jones style. They are transported to another place, another world. They are standing in a Stonehenge-like area surrounded by astrological signs carved into the stone of the 12 colonies. It's a holding place to observe the heavens above the earth. The team begins tracking the stars to plot their path. Any comments?
The pacing of the reveal of this was absolutely brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the way, because a lot of people didn't understand the names of the different colonies, somehow they didn't get it at this point. They were related to our astrological signs.
Mm-hmm.
And once you actually got to see the actual celestial bodies in their alignment, a lot of people finally got it. And I thought that was a nice, finally, blatant, here it is out in the open. There's no more guessing about where these names come from. And
for those who have not studied classics, right, Brian?
Yep.
Yeah. And how it was brought out that those were the original symbols that the colonies used on their flags before they switched out to the newer ones.
Because Sagittarian is a Greek word. Sagittarian is not a Greek word. It's
nor is Gemini.
Unique. Yeah. It's unique.
Or PyCon.
Battlestar Galactica, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just like the fact that you have these stones, you have the jewels that are pointing into the paths of the constellations, and right above them are the actual star constellations. And Rosalind's naming off the first 11, and then Lee's the one that finds Scorpio, and from there they realize, oh, there's that body of a nebula cloud that we recognize from star charts, we know it's very far away. And then Kara sort of comes to term we're on Earth because this is the one planet where all 12 of these constellations are visible. Yeah. And that's where we have to go, and it's the prophecy becomes true.
That's one of the things.
Scorpios everywhere! Shout out to Scorpios everywhere!
Oh, come on! I'm a PyCon man. I loved how this was finally they were able to take away the BSing element, because for so long they were like BSing about how the fact that, oh yeah, we know the way to Earth,
Yeah.
we totally got that, yeah,
we totally do, right?
we're you know what, westward bound, come on, let's go whack and toe kind of thing, and now they actually have a plan.
Yeah.
And like, to me, that was when, like, okay, these people definitely know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the writing has always been awesome, but I didn't like it almost felt like placating to a point where like they were lying to the rest of the crew, and they were finally able to come out and be honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing I loved about this big reveal here.
Yeah.
Yes, seen this scene a dozen times. I love this scene, but this time it struck me a little different because they're looking around, right? And they're looking at all these constellations, and they're like, "Well, how are we gonna figure out where in space all these constellations, are all lined up?" And then he's like, "They spot a nebula. Look, dude, a nebula." Like, okay, one nebula.
Dude, where's my nebula?
What does that mean?
Totally
That allows you for
nebulous.
triangulation, because the nebula and the constellation of Scorpio would allow you to triangulate where the point of Earth is, in comparison to seeing all the other constellations which aren't close to that type of body.
Yeah.
I just would have loaded everybody up into Athena's Stonehenge. Just load them up. Just take them there. Go beyond the stones. Aren't you going to go beyond the stones? You can do it. Just try. Throw a rock. Do something.
Yeah, do something with your stones.
That's something I definitely would have done. I would have grabbed a rock and seen if it was like, if you could actually go outside of the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, you are now officially on my zombie apocalypse team. I love you, man. We would both throw a rock. We would be like, load these people up. Let's load them through Athena's Stonehenge. We're on Earth. Let's do this. Get everybody in Galactica. All aboard.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that would have been something I immediately tried. But I mean, a lot of people don't logically think things through. Like, I love escape rooms, but they never last long enough, so it's not worth the money for me.
Yeah, you can get out within 3 minutes, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm usually the person that's sitting there, like, letting everybody else try and figure stuff out for a bit, and I'm like, okay, it's this, and it's this. But I mean, that's just the way I'm wired to think. Like, I'm always trying to solve problems. Like, even with my job at my construction job, it's 90% of it is just figuring out the proper solution, and 10% is just physical exertion.
Yeah, problem solving. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so a little disappointing because I would have loaded the troops up and it would have been a mass exodus. It would have been like everybody would have been offloaded into that Stonehenge, or Greek henge, stone Greek henge, Greek Stonehenge, henge-ness.
Standing stones, yeah. Like if they could move beyond the stones and literally be transported onto such a planet, then yeah, your problem's solved. It's just you have to offload everything, break down all your ships for resources to transport with you, and
pull the trigs, and just hope that it's not, Stargate SG-1, where something just comes out of the bush, throws darts into your chest, and you die.
Right. God,
right.
Stargate.
Yeah, I know. I love Stargate too.
I was about to switch my avatar to Stargate. Hail Simone. Yeah, because that's what I was going to say. Like, if you did that shit, I think your show would have just turned into Stargate.
Yeah. I think it would, because it was a gate. It was a portal, right? And so now we've left the realm of Greek mythology, and now we've entered into something entirely different, something magical and mystical. But it's not Greek at all. This is very foreign to the idea of what happens in Greek mythology.
Well, still,
it never would have been allowed to happen though, because I think Sci-Fi was still producing some Stargate shows at this point.
Yeah,
Henges.
I think Atlantis, they were on at this point.
So would this be Deus Machina? Would we consider that? Would this be like Would this be an incident
No,
where
this has been
God
earned,
would
though.
reach in and just solve all their problems for them? Because I was thinking to myself, I might test that theory out on this one, because the theory of God in the machine, that God reaches in and fixes all the problems for them, and pulls out all the hairballs from the cogs and widgets. And I sort of feel like that's what happened here. But I'm okay. I'm satisfied.
It's not quite, because number one, they have confirmation that Earth exists, and they recognize a point of reference, but they still have to get there. And then on top of that, basically it's just they've achieved they've found the map to the elixir, as it were. So it wasn't bestowed upon them through convenience. They struggled to get there. A Deus Ex Machina just comes out of nowhere, out of left field. There's no rhyme or reason for it. It just appears.
I totally did here. Like the transport, like, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, we don't know it's necessarily a transport. It just could be an imaging of inside the cave. Because remember, the cave wall shuts, and then all of a sudden, where all those statue ruins are replaced with the constellation stones, right? So that's the other part too. It's just an illusionary tactic. Yeah. It could be like a holographic holodeck type.
It's a holodeck. That's exactly what I was going to say.
So, and it's just giving them a point of reference. Now, here's the other thing that, like, you have to jump ahead to the next episode to get more information, but won't do that. But what's happening here is that we've been teased about this situation, them finding the tomb of Athena, for many episodes. And it's something that's part of the lore within a prophecy. Now, prophecies are kind of annoying when it comes to writing, because you're pretty much just telling the audience, this is all going to happen. You just have to sit back and wait, and hopefully we can entertain you to make you forget that's all going to happen.
And it's not anticlimactic, right?
Yeah. And it's not anticlimactic.
And for me, I think that it was a little anticlimactic. I think it would have been better if they would have went, like, in keeping with Greek mythology, if they would have done something Prince of Persia style, Sands of Time. Let's figure this out. Let's do a type of, a God of War style puzzle thing where we've got to move some things around and a scroll is revealed and there's a map. I just sort of found the whole, like,
placing the arrow on the bow to be a little bit too easy.
Yeah,
but it still gives them a big obstacle. How are they going to find they know about the nebula, but now they have to find the Scorpio constellation.
I know, but I just don't like the devices. I feel like God reached his hand into the machine and pulled out all of the hairballs and the cat poop and just took out everything that was blocking the machine and fixed it for them. And I think that something a lot more fun and in keeping with Greek mythology could have happened here. It's a small critique. I don't like to criticize this show because I love this show, but
no, you can criticize it. I'm just trying to see what obstacles are removed now that they know now that they know what to look for, what obstacles are removed.
Yeah, I don't.
Because that's the question with the Deus Ex Machina is all obstacles are removed.
There's also a lot of Celtic elements in this show, and a stone circle is a method of transportation to another world, seeing into the next realm. I mean, if
realm, a bridge of portals, or like if you want to go with Norse, the Rainbow Bridge, the Bifrost type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I totally believe that this thing could still be working. You're talking about a civilization that's technology was so good that they went and colonized a bunch of
12 other worlds. Yeah,
they had to abandon theirs. So, and this being something that's like a message to those that may come after them, they would put all of their latest technology and they would put as much as they could into the project to make sure that it would last and stand the test of time. So,
I accept that answer. I think that is very good argumentation, especially because it leads you directly to this reincarnation or reincarnative idea surrounding the show, which is we've been here before. This cycle has happened before. It will happen again.
Yeah.
So I accept that argumentation. You have swayed me. I changed my mind. I accept that answer. Good arguing, gentlemen.
Hell, love you, sister.
Yeah, love you too.
Why toxic man flu? Can we take the viable vagina off? It's been up for an hour.
I think Drew is just getting another dose of his pain meds because he had to.
All right.
Can't be serious.
Oh, Parrot Head's a Scorpio. Me too, baby. Me too.
Oh my God.
This is the longest I've ever lasted as a pinned comment. Still not even close to Drew's world erection record. Beware the Drew. That's your marquee now. Toxic Man Flu.
That's it.
Beware the viable vagina.
Earlier, he said something like, we were saying, no, Script Doctor said, no, you want that, and then he says, well, as a man who's been divorced twice, beware the viable vagina.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so shall we move on, guys?
Sure.
Yes, yeah, we
All
will.
right, so we cut to Galactica. Adama is addressing the crew. He gives a rousing speech on unity and presents Rosalind. Adama forces a clap, and it's like one of those chant claps. He's trying to rouse the crowd, and the crowd, of course, follows him, staggered at first, and then it grows.
They were aroused. Yeah.
And then they become aroused, and they erupt in whistles and cheers. How does that sound, Stephen?
They hit a climax. Go ahead.
They did. There was an eruption. And then we cut to Sharon in the brig. Hilo is there to visit. Gaius is listening in on their conversation. The bouncing baby toaster is revealed. Six appears, sexy again, in red. Six reveals that Boomer is carrying Gaius's and Red Six's quote-unquote child. They discuss if Six is a manifestation of Gaius's consciousness. He asks her exactly what she is. She says she's an angel of the monotheistic God, there to see Gaius through to, quote, the end of the human race. Ooh. She passionately kisses him on the cheek and embraces him. It's more of that sort of Judas from the Bible feel. The camera shows their faces. Six looks evil as hell, and Gaius looks terrified. And then we cut to the credits.
Oh, Trisha Helfer. Six reached out and said, "You are my divine cuck." Just embraced him.
I was very shocked by the fact that Six actually says in not so many words. She comes right out and says it. No beating around her bush or anybody else's. That she really wanted to carry this baby, and she I forget her wording, but she basically says to Gaius that the powers that be decided that it was not appropriate for her to carry their baby. So the baby inside of Boomer is Gaius's and Red Six's.
Well, from her perspective, I mean, we know it's literally Hilo's, but like she's taking ownership of it because it's going to be the first of this new species.
Yes, but it's just her wording and the way that she talks to Gaius. It's no wonder that he's a nut job.
She called her an undeserving creature, I believe.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think of the episode as a whole? What, as a viewer and as an author, do you guys feel like giving any reflections? I'll ask Stephen first. Stephen, what are your reflections on this episode as an author and as a fan?
Oh, let's see. Well, I like that this is the completion of one quest, which leads into another, because a good story is just one quest after the other, leading into the next trial. And it was kind of like tying up the last episode. I love the last episode actually a lot more than this one. All the characters kind of came together, which was good to see. It was good to see some of these characters that we haven't seen with one another and how they reacted to each other. As a fan, I'm happy. I'm glad that this came. I knew this was coming. Now I'm more interested to know what happens after. I want to know the next step. We've been working up to this step. We've been on this quest to find the map for Earth, up until this point. I mean, and now we've gotten there. So what's the next leg of the journey? I know that a new beginning is about to take place. And as a writer, that opens up any number of possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Brian, do you have any reflections as about the authorship or about your feelings about the episode in general as a fan?
Yeah, you talk about I'm the one non-writer in the group. I'm just a huge fan. I agree with Steven. This definitely felt like it was the completion of a main mission instead of a main mission with a whole bunch of side quests going along at the same time.
Right.
It was fun seeing. It's like you got everyone from the campaign together, and you got to watch them all play through a thread. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of fun seeing all the characters playing together and all their different pieces coming together. because like they said, he was getting the family back together in this episode, and I don't know, like this one, like I don't know if we got rid of the rating system or not, but this one's definitely like a 8.25, so
Yeah, I think
very high for me.
I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying because, you know, it's really funny is usually I have 12 or 13 pages of notes. That's how long it takes to do a synopsis of each one of these scenes as we cut around this story. And the fact that everyone was together and there weren't a lot of side plots and there wasn't a lot of action and there weren't a lot of these little micro side stories happening. Today, it was only 9 pages of notes.
Yeah, this is one of the few episodes where there isn't a whole bunch of cuts. I mean, I think you had a couple of cuts where you had Zarek and his henchmen where they were kind of off to the side, but you could still see the other players in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
so
really
it wasn't like, you know, Battlestar Galactica versus Caprica.
Yeah.
And
Jumping planets.
then you have, you know, a different ship with Zarek and his man, because I think it was either last episode or a couple episodes before you had Zarek and his henchmen where they were talking about things.
Yeah.
It was very nice to have a very clear and concise episode. I mean, I love the way they jump around and how we got to what they gave us with computer animation, with the whole shaky cam and actually feeling like you're floating in space with the camera. It's awesome they were able to do that. But this was a fun diversion from their normal style.
And it's not jumbled up. It wasn't very jumbled up.
This was good, linear, start to finish. I liked it. You know, this is very much as I've said, you know, all along. This is one of my favorites of the series. Definitely one of my favorites of season 2. I think this was altogether for me probably easily a 9. Both episodes.
Oh wow, nice.
9.
Oh wow.
I didn't know we were rating. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I didn't know we were rating either. I was actually just asking everyone for their reflections because Drew stepped away to go and do a few things. So I
got excited and jumped ahead.
I apologize, Chad.
That's okay.
No, it's a big brother. Don't worry, brother. You're good.
I had
Been so long.
I had really bad nerve pain in my arm, so I went to lie down for a few moments. So,
well, Drew, I hope that this makes you happy. My rating for this episode is a 9.1, but and in this special occasion, I'm giving it a plus 10 inches because Trisha Helfer, yo, wow.
Oh, naked 6. You get naked 6.
Oh, but a -4 for cat coffee.
Yeah. Oh man.
Right.
You got to add in the shrinkage for the cat coffee in the butt chug.
Shrinkage. Oh my
God. Well, he was good to the point we started talking about that stuff.
I thought that this.
And then he kind of melted into his chair.
I would give it maybe an 8.5 or 9. I thought that it was really great that we were led to believe that the family was broken apart, and so we had all of these cuts all over the place. And then this time around, there was this unity, not only unity of the cast, but unity in the writing. And so I really like that sort of Russian doll effect of what transpired here. I thought that there was some good writing. There were a couple of bumps along the road that I was kind of like, I'm not sure if that passes the cat coffee sniff test, aka the sniff test. But the guys, Script Doctor and Steven, gave me some viable rhetoric that I think smooths those bumps over. I accept their answers about where and how technology must meet Greek mythology in executing this story. So, good episode. SD?
Well, it just goes back to the default adage when it comes to writing: complex characters, simple plot. And this episode, these past 2 episodes had very simple plot, which is get to Athena to find the path to Earth. Very easy. Never forget it. It's always there. And what you have with the complex characters being Sharon's interaction and basically acclimation to the Galactica fleet, Adama reconciling the fleet into one whole again, Rosalind coming to terms with her position and what her goal is, having it being verified, removal of doubt between Adama and Rosalind. They're now on the fully committed on the same page of what they're going to do, whereas before it was basically we're going to find Earth, and that's just a platitude to keep everyone together. But now Rosalind's like, no, we can find Earth, and Adama is convinced at the same prospect, so now they're on the same page and they're able to work together with a common goal. And their next obstacle would be like, okay, now that we know Earth exists and we know what to look for, the question is, how do we find it? And that's going to be their next big obstacle that's going to be running until the next quest that they have, or until there's some sort of distraction, or until the Cylons do whatever to thwart that mission. And I like the fact that it was a very adult and mature way for these two characters to reunify not just themselves, but also the people that are following them. And it was a wonderful episode. It's you don't get to see TV that shows the characters being responsible and also pushing aside their own egos, even when it hurts them personally to do so, because they're trying to keep everyone together.
Imagine being an atheist and loving a woman so much that you actually fully accept in your heart, without malice, the fact that she believes that she's a seer. So I just love what you just said, because that's exactly what has happened here. You know, it was just such an incredibly mature and wonderful exchange between two adults, and it was great acting and great writing. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Lady Mist. Have a great evening to you too. Sorry to see you go. Thank you for coming. You know, we just love having you here. Thank you so much for your participation and for letting us come into your phones and your computers and into your life and hanging out with you for an hour or two. We think the world of you guys. Thank you so much.
I agree. Oops. Am I coming through?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
You're good now.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
No worries.
Supremacy. The Cylon guy with the light up sparkly head, absolutely better than every Cylon in this show. You are totally correct with that. Sorry. Thank you.
Oh, come on. The sparkly head Cylon broccoli guy was pretty funny.
He's great. That's great. Yeah. We didn't get that in this new one. Thank you guys. Thanks to the chat for showing up. We really appreciate y'all showing up every week and hanging out with us, man. You're much part of this show as everyone on it. Very glad that when Brian does stay on, he's back. And we've missed him for so long because there's so many great people with wonderfully different perspectives on this show. I love discussing it with this panel. And hail to my brothers and sisters in the chat. We really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, it's a shame that Brian's off practicing his 10 push-ups, but he would also tell you how much it means to him to be a part of this show and to come together to talk about this show, because I know he has a riot here. He has so much fun with us, and we really appreciate him, and he's a big part of our family.
Brian does not butt chug either. He's a real man.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he's back, Brian!
Yeah.
He's just getting some glimpses with the...
I guess I should explain what's been going on. I live near Air Force Base, and they're doing night certifications for their pilots. So when they fly over, it literally disconnects the internet that we use.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, they have all their systems on and active when they're flying over because we're in their flight pattern for landing. So, yeah, that's why I keep dropping out. It's nothing personal. It's just them.
That damn Air Force.
Them radio frequency. You'd be surprised the stuff I have on those planes now.
The F-16s?
No, these are FA-14s. They're training jets.
Oh.
And we also have props, but the prop planes fly out farther to our east, and the actual jet propulsion engines fly over our house. But yeah, no butt chugging, Stephen. I chug my beer like a man, straight down the throat.
It's so funny. I can't believe that we actually talked about Civic coffee. We talked about Jack Nicholson twice tonight. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Because he drinks poop.
He drinks coffee.
He drinks cat poop coffee.
No, bro.
Yeah.
Look, if
Wild cat poop coffee.
Wild cat, yeah, that's true. Civet cat poop coffee.
if you boil water and you put it into a mixture and anything in that mixture contains poop, you are drinking poop. I don't care.
Can you please put Parrot Head up at 9:05 p.m.?
Actually, Parrot Head, it's at the point where the calf will come up to you, but you still don't want to press the point with the mama cow right there.
Ooh.
She's not aware that she has the horns. It's not like they're attack weapons, but she just kind of whips them around at times. So she's big enough she can shove you over. You just don't want it to happen.
Did you hear about that guy who was killed? He was like an 80-year-old man, and he was out tending to his cows, and I guess he like loved them and was always in and amongst them, and he was just randomly killed last week. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you have to keep a certain amount of kind of got to keep your head on a swivel when you're out there with big animals. There's certain things you do and don't do. That's why, like, if you watch the video I posted, it's like a mama bear and her cubs. You make sure the mama bear is between you and the cubs.
Right.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yep.
Well,
but they're both sweet.
Drew, could you please give a shout out to everyone who came tonight, please?
Yeah, so everybody was awesome in the chat. Wookiee Supremacy and Parrot Head and Lady Mist and Toxic. And, of course, we had appearances from PJ stopped by. And we had, we had 52 Movies was in here for a little bit. We had a cast of thousands tonight, so it was nice to see everybody. John Willis that stopped in the chat for a minute. Thank you.
Oh, Yoragaki.
Hey, George.
Yo, what's up, George?
George again. George always shows up at the end, man.
George, you missed some good conversation.
Oh yeah, definitely missed out tonight. We talked about cat poop.
Yeah.
Drinking. George, people put stuff up their butt like coffee, and then people drink butt coffee.
I like how he stuck on the butt coffee, but not the poop to poop transfer.
So I don't
like that really had him going for a second until we talked about the butt.
That is outside the realm. That doesn't happen.
But yeah, we had a great turnout in the chat tonight. So thank you for everyone that came out. Also to Helam and Mark Lurseth. Thank you guys for coming in and hanging out, lurking. Angela Straben stopped in as well, so appreciate you. Obviously, my buddy George Peter Gatsis needs no introduction.
Okay, then we'll just not talk about him then.
Make
You'll enjoy that. That's actually some pretty good Greek humor there, SD. He'll actually enjoy that.
Make sure you support his projects, man. He's an awesome guy.
He finished his new comic, guys. Like, I think that Joe King
Joe King's awesome. I love how Joe King looks.
He recently just finished publishing something, didn't he? George, I wish you would comment on that.
Yes, Joe King.
Yoragaki! Hello! Come back! Tell us about Joe King. Anyway.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for being a part of the podcast tonight, as you always are. You guys are the best chat on YouTube. Of course, thank you to the great panel, my friends that are so supportive and wonderful every week. Raquel, I love you. Stephen, I love you. Love you too, man. And Brian, love you, buddy. Without these folks, they make me shine, guys, and so do you, chat. I'm just along for the ride, and I just kind of keep try to be a thread that keeps things together. But these guys make me shine. So thank you much. So we'll go around and let everybody sort of plug themselves, and we'll get out of here. So
Oh, well, after all the butt chugging, I think plugging ourselves is off the table.
Hello, I'm Raquel, and I'm not here to plug myself. No, I'm kidding. I'm just an academic. I don't
use butt plugs.
I hang out on this channel with this great group of people in the chat and this great group of people on this panel. I'm usually teaching. I'm not teaching right now because of COVID. And I'm working on a collection of short stories, fiction forms for a collection. I think I already said that. I'm tired after 2 hours of talking. Other than that, find me here. I want to thank Drew and send my love and my best to him. And I want to ask the chat and everybody else who will be watching this, if you have a few minutes in your day, please stop by and send Drew some love. He's going through a tough time right now, and he could really use just some kind messages. I want to thank Stephen for his contributions tonight. Such a beautiful and wonderful friend. He's so smart and so fun to be around, and I love discussing Battlestar Galactica with him. Script Doctor, you know I love you. You're great. I had so much fun with you tonight. You're so talented, and I wish you the best. And Brian, it is so good to have you back with our family here. You're just terrific. Thank you so much for everything tonight.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate it.
All right, Stephen.
After such an eloquent speech, there's only one way that I can follow this up. People, stop putting stuff in your ass. I don't care what it is. I don't care what your doctor tells you. I don't care what any guru tells you. Stop putting stuff up your butt.
But what?
Aw, no funky butt loving.
No, just stop.
Yeah.
Stop experimenting. All right. Coffee goes in your mouth, not your ass.
Just 2 fingers, Stephen. Just 2 fingers. Okay.
And I want to shout out Nerd Cookies because she started all this by telling us about what her mother-in-law does on John Talk stream last night.
Love you very good.
Hail to everybody in the chat. Thank you for showing up. I am author Stephen Walton, the Phantom Menace historian, your historian, born in the chats of the High Council with my brothers and sisters fighting against the corruption of our modern mythologies. My book, The Phantom Menace Volume 1, is still available on Indiegogo. Please go check it out. It'll be up for the next few weeks, and then I will be starting the Indiegogo for The Phantom Menace Volume 2, Rise of the Rebellion. Got wonderful people helping me out with that book. John Talks is writing it forward. Got a chapter by Jesse Milestone and Lord Doomcock. Going to have chapters about Mecharanum 42 and the Gospel According to Mark with a C, and also some additions brought to the book by Stephanie Janicek, Smuggler's Cantina, and Kiri Morning. So please subscribe to all those channels if you have not. Please subscribe to everybody on the panel if you have not. Wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other. Peace.
Love you, Lady Miss. Thank you for the shout out, baby girl.
D.
Yeah, thanks, Lady Miss.
Oh, I've got there's nothing left to plug. You guys already got enough of that for me tonight. So all I would say is, please, if you're watching this and you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my bro Drew Taylor here, the Supreme Heretic. Check out all the content that he's, because I'm pretty sure soon he's eager to get back to writing some articles for Bounding. So keep an eye over at Bounding into Comics for that type of stuff here. Please subscribe to author Stephen Walton's channel. And Brian, glad to have you back. And if you're already going to be doing some new content, I look forward to that as well, because I love your walkabouts of the property that you did before you did the move.
Yeah, it's well, I've got the I'm down here at the Texas property now, and I could probably do one, and I could probably get y'all close to a couple of the horses and maybe the donkey. Show you the chickens.
Did you finish building that pool hall you were building?
No. We just finished our E9 electrical inspection on Monday.
Okay.
And they finally have the power turned on today. So there's I think I worked maybe 6 hours this week, but I was able to do a lot of personal things. I was able to set up a bank account, and I went to the chiropractor today, and I feel awesome and very happy. Honestly, if I would have had my tripod SD, I would have been able to film me tearing apart a chainsaw all the way for the first time and actually putting it back together. I put a new carburetor on it and it didn't work. So I was like, well, all right, I'm gonna take it all the way apart then. And I took it all the way apart and just kind of slapped it back together, and it worked. And I'm like, I don't know what fixed it, but whatever. Yeah. I plan on I'll probably have some new content that's more than just me shooting things with my iPhone. I have the camera, and unfortunately this last weekend I was busy hanging out with my best friend who's stationed at a army base just maybe 40 minutes away from me. So we were having fun getting close again. So
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
There'll definitely be some stuff coming up soon. I know this weekend I'm redoing the front end on the Dakota.
Okay.
Cool. We'll
Yeah.
keep the pictures
Well,
flowing
you
because
know,
they're fun to watch.
Brian, people like car and truck stuff, so.
Yeah, but I'll be working with my dad and one of our local friends, and I don't know how they are about being on camera. So,
Oh, okay, fair enough.
if I was going solo, yeah, I'd just set the camera up and let it roll. But they'll be doing most of the heavy lifting, like Raquel tonight. Like she's pretty much, she's been doing awesome, doing the synopsis and guiding us through everything.
She's our MVP.
Yep.
She really is. All right, so yeah, thank you so much, chat. We appreciate you. We love you, and soon I'll be back to 100% and be able to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed every week. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and much love, guys.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Night, y'all.
Love you.
Say we all.
Don't say
Love
we
you
all.
all.
Stop putting stuff in your butt. Stop doing it. Stop.